One of the things that I am thankful for on this Wednesday is Congressman Mark Pocan. Excuse me, pardon me. He has kind of picked up the mantle of Brunch with Bernie, being here every Wednesday and doing middays with Mark, and I'm so grateful for that, Congressman Pocan, and I'm grateful for your great leadership of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. You are the co-chair of that caucus, along with Pramila Jayapal, and all the great legislation you've introduced and all the marvelous things you've done. Thank you for being here with us.
Well, I thank you, Tom. I mean, it's a great hour every week to talk to folks from around the country. It's like an extra town hall a week, which I appreciate, and I think it's a good way to make sure we're addressing the questions that people have, and I appreciate using your program for this format.
Yeah, thank you. And so it is Middays with Mark, Wednesday edition, as usual. Congressman Mark Pocan taking your calls for the hour at 202-808-9925. Congressman, the Judiciary Committee, Jerry Nadler's committee, has announced that next Wednesday, a week from today, they are going to be starting I guess this would be the official. Well, I guess the Intelligence Committee's also official impeachment inquiry, but Judiciary is traditionally where it ends up. I mean, going all the way back to Andrew Johnson, I believe. What should we expect?
Well, I think a lot of us are learning this as we go through it, because the last time this has been done, almost all of us weren't in Congress. But this is the proper committee, the Judiciary Committee, where any articles of impeachment would go. So I think what they're doing is they're starting that process. We've been told by Adam Schiff that his report should be coming shortly after Thanksgiving to Congress. And then there will be the decision about what, if any, articles of impeachment and what they are going to say. And my guess is, because things, I think, were very effectively laid out through the Intelligence Committee's process, there's a very clear path to go on the articles of impeachment regarding the president violating his oath of office, breaking the law, and asking, a foreign leader to get dirt on a political opponent and holding up the funding. In doing so, that's in most aspects of life bribery or extortion, and that's what the president did. And now we have plenty of people, including his own political appointees and long-time State Department officials who aren't Democrats or Republicans, saying this. So I think Judiciary will take this up, and I wouldn't be surprised that something could come up before Christmas. They've told us that the week before Christmas that we weren't supposed to be in, we should be planning on being in. And I think that and a few other bills that we're getting done are going to occupy the next 3 weeks.
It sounds fascinating. Just before we go to the calls, and we've got a bunch of them lined up for you. Last night, or maybe it was the night before last, Rudy Giuliani Trump threw Rudy Giuliani under the bus. He was being interviewed by Bill O'Reilly for O'Reilly's podcast. And, O'Reilly repeatedly, 3 times, basically said, did you send him to Ukraine? Did he go on your behalf? And 3 times Trump said no. There's something biblical about this. Peter comes to mind, right? But how do you think that's going to affect things? When Giuliani figures out that he's next on the Michael Cohen list?
Well, first of all, anyone who trusts Donald Trump, including at least a couple ex-wives, kind of realize this is not a guy that you can really trust. And people who decide to do business with someone like that often are used to those kind of consequences, because that's how they themselves operate. In this case, I find it interesting that Rudy Giuliani keeps dangling having some information that's an insurance policy against anyone doing anything to him. This is like one of those bad, South American soap operas that people spoof in a way, how it's all unfolding. But unfortunately, it's real life, and it's the president. And that's what we're going to try to get this done expeditiously, because this part of it is very clear. There's not like more witnesses we could bring in that could be any more clear than what the president did. And it wasn't a single phone call that the president's trying to pretend it's about. It's months and months and months of a strategic campaign to force this leader to announce an investigation, and so that Donald Trump could gain personally and politically. So that's I think, easy for us to move forward on. I think 70% of the people I saw think the president did something wrong. I understand the polling around impeachment may be a little tighter because that's how this country is politically. But 70% of the people said the president did something wrong. He clearly did, and we're going to move very quickly on that.
Yeah.